Good morning. I want to share the Bible with you in Mark chapter 7. We're going to start back in verse 20, where it says, "And he said, That which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man." He'd already told us it wasn't what we eat that defiles us. It's what comes out of the man, not what goes in. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders. So we're going to talk about each of these and try to just think on what he's saying to us. That the heart of men is where the things that defile the man come from. They come from when our heart turns toward bad things, and out of our hearts come these bad things. For one of the things that comes out of the heart is evil thoughts. Evil thoughts. You think it's just in your brain that you're thinking things, but if your heart is wicked, then it's going to send up into your brain evil thoughts. It's kind of amazing, isn't it, to think about what kind of a person, what kind of an organism we are, what kind of being we are. We are both physical and spiritual. When we talk about our heart, we're talking about a spiritual thing. It isn't just the beating organ that's in our body. It's the innermost part of us. That's our heart. And that innermost part of us is either righteous or wicked. And it starts out wicked because the Bible says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And ye must be born again, be born of the Spirit. So when we're just born into this world, we are born with a sinful nature. And that sinful nature is what's inside of us. So as we live our lives, what's inside of us comes out and comes into our minds. And we might think, well, I can steal this, or I can tell a lie and get out of trouble. I can, even from a child, those evil thoughts are coming up out of your heart into your mind. And so that's what Jesus was saying, that it's not what you're eating that's defiling the man, it's what's coming out of you that's defiling the man. Defiling means making you filthy, making you dirty, making you spiritually unfit for heaven. And so he said that out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts. It's coming out of there, and that's where those evil thoughts are coming, out of your heart. Adulteries, where instead of being content to be with your wife or your husband, out of your heart comes wanting to be with somebody else and wanting to commit sexual sin with someone else. Those are adulteries. Fornications, where you're not married to a person, but you're having sexual intercourse or going out with them, doing things you shouldn't do. Those are fornications, and with someone that you're not married to. And then murders, for it to come out of your heart that you want somebody dead. You wish they were not even alive. You wish that you could just hit them over the head and they'd be gone. Those are things that come out of the heart of men. And these things it's defiling you. It's making you unfit for heaven. Thefts. I could take this. I see it's right there. Nobody's watching. I could take it. I could just have it for my own. And that comes out of your heart, your wicked heart. Covetousness, where all you think about is what you want, and Oh, I want $1 million. I want a new car. I want a new house. I want, in all the possessions you want, I want this person or that person. Just coveting all the day long. I wish I could just have more and more and more. Wickedness. And that is just plain out trying to do wrong, wanting to do wrong all the time. That's wickedness. Wanting to hurt people or wanting to hurt their feelings or make them feel bad. That's what wickedness is. And deceit. I'll lie about everything and I will deceive people. I will deceive them into thinking that I'm something that I'm not, or I will deceive them into leaving their property around me, and I'm going to do something bad to their property, or I'm going to do something bad to them. I'm going to deceive them into thinking that I'm good, but I'm not. Lasciviousness, and that is where all you think about is some sexual lust, satisfaction, where all you want to do is satisfy that lust of the flesh, that lust, that sexual lust. An evil eye. That is something that is amazing that it's in this list. Comes out of the heart of men, an evil eye. Have you ever looked at somebody and you knew they hated your guts and they wish you would just, they're telling you how bad they think you are and what they don't like about you? I mean, that's an evil eye, where you feel that evil intentions towards you through their eyes. Blasphemy, where there is no reverence to God. I looked in the dictionary and it said insulting or showing contempt or lack of reverence for God. That's not the old dictionary, that's a new one. That blasphemy, it might be 2025 where men and don't even believe in God, but the definition of blasphemy is insulting or showing contempt or lack of reverence for God. So that comes out of the heart of man. Out of the heart of man comes this irreverence for God, this showing contempt and insulting. Oh my, what the devil has caused to be in our hearts when we sinned against God. It's horrible. Blasphemy, pride. You know, pride is some people think of it as something good, and it can be good, where you're not just don't care what you are, or don't care how you dress, or don't care if you're clean. Well, that's a form of being having pride in yourself, as far as wanting to be the best you can. And that is not wrong, but this pride is exaggerated self-esteem or conceit, where you think that it comes out of your heart that I'm the best. I'm somebody that nobody else is like. That's what the devil did. He wanted to be exalted up as high as God, and that was in his heart. And this pride comes out of the heart of men. Foolishness. You think foolishness is foolish jesting, those kind of things, making funny remarks. But foolishness is really not acting wisely, not willing to be a wise person, but rather just letting yourself be as foolish as you can be and not choosing to live wisely, but just not even worrying about being foolish, about doing things that just don't make sense. The Lord said, Jesus said, that is something that comes out of the heart of man, foolishness. then he said, all these evil things. He called foolishness evil. He called all of this, pride, deceit, lasciviousness, fornications, adulteries, evil thoughts, all of these things, wickedness, covetousness, thefts. He called them all evil things. And he said, they come from within and defile the man. They make you filthy. So Jesus wanted us to understand that the heart of men is wicked. We have a wicked heart to begin with. And it's all those things that happen inside of our hearts and then become actions, become thoughts. All of those things are making us filthy. And that's why we have need of his precious blood to cleanse us from all unrighteousness, to cleanse our heart. Cleanse your heart. If your heart is clean, then evil thoughts won't come into your mind. And if one comes, you know that it's not from your heart, because your heart is clean by the blood of Christ. You can say, get thee behind me, Satan. Because all of these things are things that the devil promotes in man. He promotes evil thoughts. He promotes adulteries and fornications and murders and thefts and covetousness and wickedness and deceit and lasciviousness and evil eye, blasphemy, pride, and foolishness. He promotes all of those things, trying to get us to be the worst that we could ever be. He promotes those things in us. But when any of these things come up, if you know that you don't have an evil eye. And if the devil tries to give you an evil eye, you say, oh no, I've been washed in the blood. I'm not a part of any of these things, because I don't want to be defiled. And that's what Jesus was trying to tell his disciples, that it's not what you eat, it's what's coming, not what's going in, it's what's coming out that's defiling the man. Okay, let's go on from there. And it says in verse 24, and from thence he arose and went into the borders of Tyre and Sidon, and entered into an house, and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid. Now, do you understand how Jesus had amazed everybody? They were all awestruck by this man and what he could do and what he said and who he was. And they didn't want to leave him alone. I mean, they didn't feel like they could leave him alone. They wanted to be with him. And he went into the borders of Tyre and Sidon, and that was over there on the coast near the Mediterranean Sea. He went over there, and that was out of Israel. Tyre and Sidon was a different country. He went there, the borders of that, so maybe right at the edge of the nation of Israel and Lebanon. Tyre and Sidon would have been Lebanon, and entered into an house and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid. So where he went, perhaps, was to rest, was to have a time of rest, where he could maybe get to where he was able to keep going on. You know, there's times you want to minister, you want to do what you can for the Lord, but there's times you need physically to rest. I was going to look into my maps and see back in that time where it's Tyre and Sidon, and where it said what nation that was. Yeah, up in Tyre and Sidon was Lebanon. And so it was up above Galilee, up above. It was up into Upper Galilee, which was away from even where Jesus was raised in Nazareth. Not too far. Let's see, might have been maybe 40, 50 miles. 50 miles Tyre inside, and Tyre was about 50 miles from where Jesus was raised. So he went up in that area and entered into a house, and he didn't want anybody to know he was there. And I know he probably needed to rest. And so it says in verse 25, oh, we better wait. We better wait till tomorrow. Maybe this was interesting to you, maybe not, but I just felt like we needed to cover some of these evil things that come from within and defile the man. If you have any of those evil things popping up in your mind or your heart, popping up in your thoughts, any of these evil things, you realize if you're a saint of God or a child of God, you realize the devil's tempting you with some of his stuff. And if you say, I'm not having it, it's not going to defile you. But if you welcome it and you do it, you'll be defiled. You'll have to repent, and you'll have to be washed again in Jesus' blood. So take care about that. Okay? I'm going to go, and I'll see you tomorrow, Lord willing.